You have $4,200 in your checking account. Rent is due in 11 days. You tell yourself that once the number is bigger, everything gets easier. You believe that completely. Everyone does at first. But somewhere above a certain number, something starts disappearing. Not gradually, not obviously. It goes quietly, the way things always go when you are too busy watching the money to notice what is leaving with it. This is not a story about gratitude. It is not an argument against wealth. It is an observation, what the number gives you, and what it silently takes. $0 to $10,000. At this level, money can't buy stability. That is the only thing that matters here, and it is the one thing just out of reach. Every unexpected expense is a crisis. A car repair, a medical bill, a week without shifts. The math never fully works. You cover one thing and something else opens. But something exists here that is harder to name later. Clarity. You know exactly what you need. There is no ambiguity about the goal. Pay the bill, cover the month, get to next week. The objective is simple and the people around you share it. Struggle is a language everyone in your life speaks. You do not need to explain your situation because they are already inside it with you. That shared understanding. That is the first thing the number will eventually take. $50,000 to $100,000, you are stable now. Bills are covered. There is a small buffer. The anxiety does not disappear entirely, but it loosens. You can breathe in a way you could not before. But the gap begins here. Some of your oldest friendships start to feel different, not because you changed dramatically, because the distance between your daily concerns and theirs began to widen. They are still managing the same problems you left behind. You are thinking about investments, career moves, the next level. The conversations start missing each other slightly. Nobody says anything, but you feel it. Spontaneity also starts to cost more here. You can afford to go to dinner. But you are also aware of what that dinner represents in hours worked, in savings rate, in delayed progress. Money is still scarce enough that spending it carries weight. Every choice is a small negotiation with your future self. Freedom from that negotiation. That is what this level cannot buy yet. $250,000 net worth. You have built something real. The account has weight. You are no longer living paycheck to paycheck. Investments are working quietly in the background. You are ahead of most people your age, and you are aware of that. But something shifts in how people see you, not dramatically, subtly. A family member asks for help. A friend makes a comment about your apartment. Someone at work assumes you don't understand financial pressure anymore. The number is not public, but money has a presence. People sense it, and that sensing changes how they position themselves around you. Some pull closer, some pull back. Neither is entirely about you. Authenticity in new relationships becomes harder to verify. You cannot always tell what someone wants from the connection. That uncertainty is new, and it does not go away as the number grows. It compounds. 1 million, the first million arrives, and the feeling lasts approximately 72 hours. You expected a threshold, a feeling of having crossed into something permanent. Instead, the number sits in a brokerage account, and Monday morning arrives the same as always. What disappears here is the fantasy. For years, the first million was the destination, the proof. The moment everything would feel different, and when it doesn't, something quietly restructures inside you. The goalpost moves. It always moves. You understand now that it will keep moving. That realization is clarifying and lonely at the same time. The relationship with ambition changes. Before, hunger was simple. You needed more. Now you have enough, and you are still pushing, and the reason why becomes harder to articulate. People around you expect you to be satisfied. You are not. Explaining that to someone who is still working toward basic stability feels impossible, so you stop explaining. $5 million work becomes optional, not immediately, not completely, but the math supports the idea that you could stop, and that optionality changes everything, including how you experience the work itself. When you had to be there, showing up had a different weight. Now that you don't have to be there, every day is a choice. That sounds freeing. It is, for a while. But purpose built on necessity is different from purpose built on choice. One is automatic. The other requires constant construction. You also begin losing access to ordinary complaints. The traffic, the difficult coworker, the exhausting week. These are still real to you, but you cannot voice them without the room shifting. You have options most people don't. Saying the job is draining when you could leave tomorrow carries a different meaning, so you absorb more than you express. The ability to be fully witnessed in your frustration, gone. $20 million, the invitations change, the rooms change. You are now inside conversations about capital, about deals, about positioning. The people in these rooms are impressive, accomplished, driven, and almost entirely transactional in ways that take time to recognize. Friendship at this level requires excavation. You have to dig through layers of networking, of mutual benefit, of strategic proximity before finding something that resembles genuine connection. Some people never find it. They mistake the density of their social calendar for closeness and realize the error only when something goes wrong and the room empties faster than it filled. Privacy also begins its slow exit. Not because you are famous, because your capital has visibility inside certain circles. People know your approximate position. That knowledge changes every room you enter, every conversation you have, every relationship you attempt. You are never fully anonymous again. $100 million. At this level, honesty becomes a luxury almost no one can afford to give you. The people around you have too much at stake. Advisors, partners, employees, family members with financial ties. Everyone is aware of what disagreement costs them. So disagreement rarely arrives directly. You receive information filtered through the interests of whoever is delivering it. Feedback arrives softened. Problems arrive late. Praise arrives immediately and abundantly. Navigating toward actual truth requires deliberate systems, trusted people paid specifically to disagree, structures designed to counteract the natural distortion that surrounds large capital. Most people at this level know this intellectually. Few fully solve it, because the distortion is comfortable, agreement is comfortable, and comfort at scale is one of the most dangerous things money can buy. $500 million, the world becomes increasingly managed. Security, schedules, access, all of it moves through layers of staff, protocol, and planning. The spontaneous texture of ordinary life, walking into a restaurant without a reservation, having an unplanned conversation with a stranger, moving through a city without logistics, becomes structurally difficult. Your children grow up inside this managed world. They are protected from everything ordinary life teaches through friction, waiting, rejection, consequence without a buffer. The tools that built your discipline were forged in conditions your wealth now prevents them from experiencing. That is not a solvable problem. It is a permanent tension that money creates and cannot resolve. $1 billion at this level, the question of meaning arrives with full force. Not philosophically, practically. You have exceeded every external marker. The number no longer corresponds to any recognizable human need. You could not spend it in several lifetimes. And yet the machinery of accumulation continues because stopping requires a different kind of identity than acquiring did. What cannot be purchased here is an honest answer to a simple question. Why? Why continue? Not in a despairing sense, in a structural sense. The drive that built the number was never really about the number. It was about something underneath it. Recognition, control, proof, safety, and the number, no matter how large, cannot deliver what it was never actually designed to carry. The wealthiest people in the world are still looking for that thing. Most of them just have very expensive ways of not noticing. There is a moment, different for everyone, where the number stops solving problems and starts revealing them, not creating them. Revealing the ones that were always there, underneath the ambition, underneath the urgency, underneath the belief that more would eventually be enough. The checking account with $4,200 believed that money was the answer, and in many ways it was. Stability is real, options are real. Freedom from survival anxiety is real and significant and should not be minimized. But the question changes as the number grows. It stops being, can I afford this? It starts being, what is this actually for? And that question, at every level, money cannot answer.